Hello, everyone, and I hope you're all well. My name is Tanner, and today is very special because I have someone who is a great person and a very big inspiration. We have Dana Penelovia. Did I pronounce that right?
No, it's actually Dana Poloniova.
Penilova. Okay, sorry about that.
Poloniova,
Yes.
but don't worry, everybody's butchering that surname.
Well, it's an awesome name. And so we have her on the show today, and she's going to be sharing her story, her self-sabotage story. And the purpose of this is so that other people can see, no matter what background you come from, no matter who you are, we're all able to overcome self-sabotage. And so every Sunday, we're going to have someone different come on the show to explain their story so that everyone can see that, we're able to overcome self-sabotage, really, no matter who we are. And so without further ado, we're going to have Dana introduce herself, and we'll get started.
Lovely. So hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Tanner, for having me here today. And I'm so glad I can share my self-sabotage story with you and everybody who is listening as well, because as we know, we all self-sabotage to a certain level and we can all overcome it. So just to tell you a bit about myself, I was born in Slovakia. I grew up here till the age of 19. And after graduating from high school, I moved to Ireland, where I spent 14 years. That's where I started my business as well. And it was only last year in September that I decided to come back home to Slovakia because I really miss my family. I was separated from them for 14 years, and you only travel home for like 2-3 weeks a year. And you don't know what to do first, if you to see your family, see your friends, you want to enjoy a bit of a holiday. So I really, this was a good decision to come back home, and I'm reconnected with my family. As I said, I reconnected with our beautiful Slovak nature, and that's really my story in a very, very short.
That's awesome, man. That's fantastic. It's so cool that you lived in Ireland for a while and that you got to experience that, and you got to go back home, and now you're with your family.
Yeah, I think leaving Slovakia and moving to a different country, especially English-speaking country, was one of the best decisions I could make as a young person, because you really get to know different nationalities, different cultures. You see the world, it gives you more opportunities to travel as well. And it was just really great experience. And I'm so glad that I lived in Ireland. Ireland is such a beautiful country. Everybody who visited Ireland is beautiful nature, coast and beaches everywhere. People are very nice. They're very funny, full of banter. So it was definitely a great experience. Like, I've made so many friends, and really friends for life. And I definitely have to say I miss Ireland and I miss my friends from over there. But coming home was a good decision, because that's what my heart was calling for a while.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's so important to listen to our heart and, listen to what's going on inside of us. Because if we're ignoring that, we're just, things are not going to go well. So.
Because even one of the forms of self-sabotaging is when you ignore what your heart is calling for, and you often try to satisfy everybody else around you, and you're just trying to do what's right for everybody else, for society, for people around you. And very often we forget about ourselves, what's the best for us. So definitely it was, since I started to look more after my needs and what I want from life, that was when my life took on a massive change.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I'm so excited to be hearing about this. So what were you dealing with? What was your story? Like, what made you think that you need to start making the changes in your life?
To be honest, when I think back, like years and years ago, I moved to Ireland when I was 19 years old. And back then, you do all those things that everybody else is doing. And when I look at it back now, I'm like, oh my God, I self-sabotaged at massive level. And it was always different form of self-sabotage. Of course, back then, I didn't think that way, because you were just living your life. You were doing what everybody else was doing. You were trying to fit in. And it's only now after years that I'm realizing that I was following these bad habits and bad self-sabotaging habits. But practically, when I moved to Ireland at the age of 19, when I was living in home, I was going to school, and then you move to a huge country, because I was growing up in a small village. And then you move to a big city, and all of a sudden you start making money. And think about it, like average salary, monthly salary in Slovakia used to be about 400 euro a month.
Wow.
And then I came to Ireland, where you are 19 years old, you never really made huge money, and all of a sudden you are starting to make like 350, 400 euro a week. So of course you are young. What are you going to do? You're going to spend all those money on buying new clothes every weekend, and then go out drinking and partying. And this was really the first proper form of self-sabotaging when I look back at it, just damaging your health with partying and lots of alcohol, and not proper sleep. And as I said, instead of starting to save some money, I was always spending all the money. And I still have clothes in my wardrobe that I bought years and years ago. They still have tags on them, and I never even wore them. And I think everybody knows this, because everybody was in this situation.
Yeah.
And especially when you are young, you're trying to fit in so much. I was following all the trends, and even then, I was maybe 20, 21. I was so obsessed with everything that was happening around me. I was even falling for like anorexia, because I was getting obsessed with being skinny. I was obsessed with how I look, dyeing my hair, and I was looking for all those idols and movie stars and singers, and I wanted to look like them. I think we all went through this process at some stage.
Yeah.
But this was really first form of self-sabotage, like proper self-sabotage. But I was very grateful, because later I met some friends who were really into fitness, and they started to teach me more about food, about training. And I really changed my diet, and I started to be more active. Like, I always been an active person. Always, because even when I was in a high school, my school was focusing on physical education.
Yeah.
But it was later, especially food, when you get proper knowledge about food, and you start looking into what you put into your body, that's when your health really starts to improve. So I went from being almost anorexic and damaging my health like this, to educating myself on proper nutrition and proper training. And as I said, it's really the people that you have around you that affect you the most. So because I was in the circle of people who are more health orientated, I started to pay attention to fitness kind of stuff. And this later got me into competing in bodybuilding as well.
Wow. Awesome.
But again, this competing in bodybuilding, it grew into the stage where I almost lost my life.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because it was your training. When you compete for the bodybuilding, you're preparing for competitions. It's all about sleeping, cooking, and training. You don't have much of a social life. And especially if you're trying to work full time, you're working 8 to 10 hours a day, then you're trying to get your food. You have to cook, because you're scaling every bit of food. You have to follow proper nutrition and training program as well. And it's just constant rush, you're just running, you're chasing something. I'm not saying it was bad what I did, because I really love this part of the bodybuilding that gives you perfect knowledge about how your body works, right. Really. Awesome. But because I didn't have a proper background knowledge from the bodybuilding and from everything else, really, it grew to the stage where I put my health in risk. But it wasn't only the competing itself. It was also, I was in a bad relationship, and I knew it. I knew it from, at the start, you have kind of like we call it, you have a pink glasses, because you see everything through pink glasses. Everything is perfect. Everything is great when you're starting new relationship. But later I started to see the issues in that relationship. But I kept telling myself like, oh, it's fine. Other people have the same relationships as me, like no relationships are perfect. And you're just really lying to yourself just to comfort yourself that what bad things they are happening in your life, they are okay. And this is also a form of self-sabotage. So the combination being in a stressful relationship where I was really under, how would I call it, mental control from the partner, he was trying to control me, and it was draining. It was really draining mentally. Then preparing for competition, trying to work, trying to save money, because competing is very expensive too. Everything just, and I did about 4 competitions every year, 4 to 7 competitions, because you have spring season and autumn season, and every season you do few competitions. So I competed 4 years straight while I was in an unhappy relationship. And towards the end, my last competition, I was representing Ireland in a Friends. And I felt literally at that competition, I felt like if I drop that right now, I don't even care. I was mentally drained, I was physically drained, and I just didn't care. I didn't care if I'm gonna win or if I'm gonna lose. I just wanted to be all over. So yeah, it was very stressful time of my life. And it was only after I finished competing and I did the blood tests with my friend, who is a very dear friend of mine, and he saved my life multiple times. I did my blood work with him, and he got a phone call from the lab in England, and they told him, like, Jesus Christ, what is this girl doing? Like, I think it was the creatine in your blood. I think the normal level are supposed to be between 9 to 20 units, and my units were over 2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so they really panicked. They were like, oh my God, she should drop dead any minute. And that's exactly how I felt, like my body was telling me, like, this is enough, you need to take a break. And it was only then when I started to do counseling with my friend, because I really felt depressed. I felt very down, and I also lost my sister in the meantime as well. And it was just very difficult part of my life. And it was when my friend started to talk to me, and he was like, look, if you're not happy in this relationship, you need to get away from it. And he made me aware, because awareness is the first step to change. It's only if you are aware of all the issues in your life, and if you are aware how you can overcome them, how you can change it, it's only then when you can make the change.
I agree.
Yeah, so this was kind of the first step of my awakening process, but it really took the proper turn later in life. And so I started to get my health in order after all this madness. And I free myself from this relationship. But instead of getting to know myself better, and took time to get to know me and do what I want to do, what we all do, I just rushed into another relationship straight away.
So common.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is everybody's like, oh, you're not going to stay on your own, are you? And you just, we are usually afraid to be on our own, because we are scared to get to know ourselves. So we always rush into another relationship, and that's exactly what I did as well. And this one was much, much better, but it wasn't perfect either, And this was different type of relationship. We were really happy, but again, it was watching TV till late night. I was putting myself aside, because I was trying to keep my partner happy, and I was trying to, how to say it, you're always trying to find compromises in relationships. But doing these compromises, I wasn't satisfying myself and my needs, and I was trying to satisfy my partner, his family, his child, and it was getting very difficult towards the end. And it was really when in 2020, we all know that when COVID started and all this madness, I think many relationships went through a big test in those times, because all of a sudden you're locked in a house all the time, and you're just trying to find some middle ground, how not to kill each other sometimes. And since the beginning, like, of course, when all this madness started, all this circus, how I call it, we all, not all of us, but most of us fell for it at the start. It was something new. We never lived through the pandemic, and we all got a bit of a fright. But since the beginning, I just felt something wasn't right. And it was my friend, again, my friend Richard Rocker. He's actually great health practitioner. He works in Ireland. He does counseling. He was the one who did counseling with me. He's chiropractor. He's doing his doctorate at the moment. And he's just great friend. And he was trying to tell me all this. He was sending me lots of videos and articles about corruption and everything that didn't make sense for me. He just gave me more information, and I was like, okay, this makes sense and that makes sense. And you start to question everything. And he introduced me to Jason Christoph as well, as you know, our coach.
Yeah.
And that's when everything started, like I started to listen to his podcasts, and it was great because I had all this time, because first lockdown, we were stuck at home for like 3.5 months. Yeah. So I was using this free time to educate myself on everything that was going on in the world, all the corruption and the politics. I never really cared about politics, but now I was like, okay, something is not right. And I think it's time to grow up and start to look into important things.
Yeah.
And I started to look more into healthcare system and how you can improve your health, all the toxins that you need to get away from your life. And most of all, I was educating myself on vaccines, because they're already saying like this vaccine is coming up. And I was like, wait a second, like the pandemic just started and all of a sudden you have a vaccine for it already.
Yeah, right.
Like that was very suspicious. And I spent hours of watching documentaries about vaccines, and I was reading about vaccines and all the corruption in a healthcare system and big pharma companies and how they make money, and all about frauds, how they bribe doctors and how they push their medicines and all the side effects. And this was really when the real issues in my a relationship started as well, because while I was educating myself on all this and I was going through this awakening process, my partner didn't want to have anything to do with it. He was just he just didn't want to hear it. He was getting very frustrated when I was trying to communicate these issues with him. But I don't blame him for this. He just wasn't ready yet. We were on a different level, different consciousness, and I was getting frustrated myself. I was getting very disappointed because everybody who is going through awakening process, you probably went through it yourself. It's not easy because all your world just falls apart. You break it down into pieces, and then you start building those pieces back up, but you build your world stronger. Yeah. You are more aware, you're getting wiser, and your whole perception of the world is just changing. And it was with everything, really, like for example, what we used to do with my partner before, one of our main things, what is for many relationships, was to sit down and watch some movie, watch some TV shows, and just spend some time together. And all of a sudden, when you go through awakening process and you realize how much propaganda is going on TV, and especially in the movies and TV shows, all the subliminal messages and everything in the background, I just couldn't enjoy watching TV anymore. I couldn't enjoy watching movies or any TV shows that were our favorite TV shows. And I was stepping back from it, and my partner didn't like it as well. He was telling me I've changed. And for example, I refused to wear masks from the very beginning as well, because I read a lot about wearing masks and the dangers they can cause to your health. And even I tried to wear them at work at the start after first lockdown when I reopened, but I couldn't breathe in it. Like I had a light asthma before, and I'm allergic. And always when I was wearing mask, I was getting dizzy, I was getting tired, like my sinuses got worse. And I just told my clients, like, look, I'm not going to wear it anymore. And my clients respected it, which I'm very grateful for. But then I refused to wear it because later on you saw that masks were just a controlling tool. It was the first of the controlling tool. And this is where my awakening process really started, because I was starting to rebel against the system and against all the restrictions, because I saw through it and what's the real purpose of them. And so I refused to wear masks, and many times we got into argument with my partner, you know, like, you're embarrassing me, put it on, and all this stuff. And it was just putting us farther and farther apart from each other, you know. So it was again, it was very difficult. But over the last 2 years, like, if I look at the person that I used to be, that I was 2.5 years ago, and the person that I am today, with all the knowledge that I gained over the last 2.5 years, it's like completely two different people.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I kind of have the similar thing with the whole COVID pandemic and everything. Luckily, with my wife, we were both kind of on the same page, but I know many people were in your same situation where they had like their both partners were going different ways on that, and it caused a lot of problems.
Oh, I just saw relationships everywhere just falling apart, right and left, you know, because it's very difficult, because these are your fundamental values, you know, your core values. And if you don't agree with your partner on this, you lose respect for each other, you know, it just constantly causing fights. And I don't know, I just felt like it was the right decision to just step aside, and not force him to be something he's not, and just look after myself.
So then you ended up moving on, and where did you go from there?
Practically, we separated after a while. Like, I lived in Ireland for 14 years, and as I mentioned already, and last 3 or 4 years, I had that need that I want to leave. You know, I just wanted to move somewhere else, because I felt like I achieved in Ireland what I wanted, and I felt like I needed a change, really. I always had a travel bug, so I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world, and meet different cultures, and just experience life.
Right.
And my partner, he refused to move because he had a daughter from previous relationship, and that was really causing issues between us as well. So when all this COVID started and we just separated, I was like, okay, this is time where I can finally do what I want to do. And I decided that I'm going to leave Ireland, and I decided to go home, because as I said, I was getting homesick, especially throughout the pandemic. I'm so mad at myself to call it pandemic, because it's not really a pandemic, you know. But that's how it's called. But throughout those 2 years, we couldn't travel as much, and there was time when I didn't see my family for a full year, and I was really getting homesick. And again, I just wanted to come back home. And like, Slovakia is so beautiful. I missed our forests, because when I lived in Ireland, I lived in a city. So if you wanted to go to to a forest, proper forest, you had to drive for at least 30 minutes. And even that, it wasn't like proper forest. It was some park, or where you had lots of people. And it wasn't the same. Where I am from, where I live right now, I live in the town where I was growing up. And I do 3 steps and I'm in the meadows and forests. Like,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah, it's really brilliant. And we do everything. We pick the herbs for our teas, we do mushroom pickings, you know, like we pick berries in the forest. And I really miss that connection with nature when I was living in a city. So it was really a good decision to come back home. But again, even when I got back home, it was difficult, because you come back home with all these new views at the world, and you're trying to warn people. And well, I got used to it, that many people look at you like you're a freak, you know.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Exactly. Exactly. But thank God there were a few people who were on the same page as me, and it's really those people that keep you sane, you know, because you need somebody to talk to. And even if I didn't have proper friends right here yet, I could always call to my friends in Ireland who were on the same page as me, and we could share the same opinion. Because, like, you know, last 2.5 years, it changed the world for many people, and the way we look at the world.
That's so true. I mean, the world completely changed. So were you also reaching out to other people on, like, I know you were still following Jason at that time. When was that, like, at what point did you decide, like, I want to be a self-sabotage coach, or what really got you to think about doing that?
To be honest, when I started to listen Jason and I started to make changes in my life, it was actually before, it was, as I mentioned, my friend Richard, I remember coming to his office once for my massage because he was my chiropractor as well. And he was always educating me. He was always giving me new ideas and this is good for your health, this is not. And I was like, all right, because he was a great example of health. And I always say, like, always, if you want to be healthy, ask somebody who is healthy how to do it, So I remember I was coming to his office once and he was like, oh, I'm not drinking coffee anymore. I was like, what? Why? Like, what's wrong with you? And he was like, oh, so just explain a few basic stuff, like it reduces blood flow to your brain and it disrupts your digestion. And he explained what it really does to your body. And I was like, this actually makes sense because last few weeks, for example, let's say when I was drinking coffee still, and we were going for some trip, so we had a breakfast at home and you get ready and they're like, okay, we grab a coffee at a petrol station. So you get your petrol, you grab your coffee. And as soon as I drank coffee, I felt that fog over my brain and I was getting sick from my stomach, not sick, physically sick, but I was like, it felt very upset, and I just felt like, okay, something is not right here. My body is not responding good to this. Then when he explained what actually coffee does to you, I was like, okay, this makes perfect sense because this is exactly how coffee made me feel. Yeah. So with the coffee, I just went cold turkey. I just stopped from day to day. And literally, I didn't miss it that much. I was never really a huge coffee drinker. I had maybe 1 coffee a day, 2 coffee max, But yourself, it takes for your body 3 weeks to detox from coffee completely. So I gave it a time, and it was really after those 3 weeks that I felt better concentration. I felt that like somebody just lifted that brain fog off me, and I had more energy, better concentration, focus. I was engaging in conversations more. It was mind blowing, how much difference can make just one thing, cutting off the caffeine. And then, as I said, then I found about Jason and I started to make more changes. Like I stopped using microwave for food. I started to shop more in health stores, for my cosmetics. I changed my toothpaste for one without fluoride. And it was really these small changes, but you could feel your body responding immediately, the same cosmetics, cleaning products, everything else, proper sleep, and especially peace of mind. If you have peace of mind, if you do what really makes you happy and you are not trying just fast satisfy people around you and compromising your happiness, this is really where big changes started for me. And from there, I decided, okay, I'm just gonna change my life from today for better and better. Every single day, I'm just going to work on this progress for myself.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I know removing those toxins from your life, like there's just so many of them. It's so important. And I think a lot of people don't realize just how many there are that are affecting us. But the coffee one, that one, it's awesome that you were able to accept that information because usually when I talk to people about coffee, they're just like, whoa, what? You're trying to take away my coffee? Like that's my special drink. like
that was my reaction as well, And even now when you say to people like coffee is bad for you. No, coffee is good for you. I was like, really? Where did you read that? Oh, I don't know. I just read some article that drinking coffee is good. I was like, the people who are selling you the coffee are telling you coffee is good for your health. The same like with medication. This was one of the big steps as well for me, because when I was 18 years old, I was going from child practitioner to adult GP. And straight away she was like, there is something wrong about your thyroid gland. So she sent me to a specialist. And of course, what they told me, you have underactive thyroid gland. So you will have to take these pills for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you won't be able to function properly. You have to take one pill every morning, 30 minutes before food, right after waking up. And I was taking those pills. I was taking medication for my allergies because, as I said, I suffered badly from sinuses as well. And now when I look back at it, it was mainly stress that was causing my bad sinuses. And I mean, every morning I woke up and my nose would be just running for an hour, just running, water, my eyes were swollen. And I just, like, there was even time in my life where I was addicted from nasal spray for like 8 years straight. I wouldn't move anywhere without nasal spray.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was when my mom told you, like, you can lose your sense of smell if you keep using it for so long. And I was like, all right, I don't really want to use my sense of smell because, flowers, everything, like, it's one of the senses. You don't
Yeah.
want to lose it, definitely. So medications, yeah, I was taking medications for my thyroid gland, for my allergies, and I was taking contraception as well, every single day for like 10 years straight. And it was then when I learned, like, okay, contraceptive pills can cause you cancer, when you take them for way too long. And I was kind of getting very suspicious of all the medications, because when you read side effects on the medications, it's scary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And somehow, when I was looking more into my diet, into my mindfulness, and becoming aware of all the toxins and medications and how corrupted big pharma is and pharmaceutical businesses, I was like, okay, I need to change something about this. So I remember with my thyroid gland pills, then I was like, I forgot to take it one day. I forgot to take it for a week. Then it turned into a month. And all of a sudden it was 2 years. And I was like, okay, I'm without these pills, which are supposed to save my life. And I'm not able to live without them, as my doctor told me at the age of 18. All of a sudden I'm without these pills for 2 years and I feel fine. And I did my blood work again. And my blood work was outstanding. My thyroid gland was perfect. It was great because I was getting better sleep, better nutrition. I was happy. I was cleaning my life from toxins. So then I stopped taking allergy medications as well. And I stopped taking contraceptive pills as well. And it was really like this is just mind-blowing. When you start this awakening process and you start freeing your body from toxins, you feel so much better. And with every single little change that you make, you feel more and more healthier, more and more happier. And it just motivates you to move forward. So even when I told people, like, I'm not taking any medications anymore, they're like, really? Like, you're going to die without it? I was like, no, you're not actually. Even now when people are like, oh, you don't pay for your, how do you call it, for your insurance, health insurance? I was like, no, I don't go to doctors. Mm-hmm. How come? I was like, because I'm healthy. I look after my health. I prevent illnesses, And I was saying this for the last few years. I was like, 90% of illnesses could be fixed by proper nutrition and proper activity. But people don't want to hear this, they just want an easy life. I just want to keep my life the same. I want to stay in my comfort zone and just somebody give me a magic pill for everything.
Magic pill, magic shot.
Exactly. Yeah, everything is magic. Like, it was the same when I was actually competing, that I did a bit of a personal training and nutrition and with my clients. And people, if you tell them you have to do ABC, you have to this. Oh, really? Isn't there just a pill that I could take once a day and it would just get me six pack, and I would just get in the best shape of my life? I was like, no, it's hard work to get into shape, but once you need to make it your lifestyle, because you can't just change your diet for 2 months so you get into the shape that you want. You reach your dream weight, and then if you go back to your old lifestyle again, you just gain it all back, because your body, you need to treat it with respect, and whatever you put in, you will get out. So you need to change these habits, and you need to make these changes your lifestyle. It's not just a temporary solution for a while. It needs to become your lifestyle. And many times people, as I said, because as a self-sabotage coach, is like your subconscious mind, it scans everything around, and whatever everybody else does, it makes you to repeat and act in the same way. So even now, when I get somewhere and I'm like, oh, I don't drink alcohol, like, you don't? Like, and I only stopped when was it since January. I was making this decision for a while. I was like, I really want to stop. And I was kind of debating with myself, like with every self-sabotage habit that I was trying to get rid of, you always go through certain process. First, you need to get aware of it, that, okay, this is sabotaging my health, my wealth, and any other aspect of my life. And you need to make a conscious decision, like, I'm going to stop. And you are debating it with yourself every single time. So every time when I decided, for example, I'm going to stop drinking alcohol, and I was drinking alcohol, each time I was drinking alcohol, I was like, this is bad for you. And you know it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it takes time for your mind to accept it. And for every self-sabotage habit, it took me a while, but it's in average about 6 months that you talk yourself into getting rid of this habit, you know, to change the behavior. Like, for example, with coffee, it was very easy. As I said, I went cold turkey from day to day and I just stopped. But different aspects, like, let's say alcohol, like everywhere you go, any celebration, you meet up with friends every weekend. Let's meet up in a pub, you know, for pizza and a few beers, you know. Excuse me, alcohol is always involved because it's such a social aspect. It's accepted as a social aspect for everybody. And even now, wherever I go, like, I don't drink alcohol, like, oh, come on, let's have at least one. I was like, no, I don't need it in my life. Like, really, you just don't drink at all? I was like, no, I just don't need it anymore, you know, because I value my health more than I value your opinion about me, because people will judge you. They will.
Oh, yeah.
If you are different than them and you tell them, like, I don't use microwave, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't have TV at home. This is another big thing. Like, what? Like, but you at least, like, I don't have TV either. I just watch Netflix. I was like, no, you don't get me. Like, I never watched news. You know, I was like, that if I say I don't have a TV, I mean, I don't have any TV set in my home. I just don't watch TV at all. And they're like, oh my God, I can't imagine my life without TV. You know, like, people ask me, what are you doing? I was like, it's like TV is the only thing you can do, you know? And I start telling them, like, TV is actually there to program you to certain behavior. And for example, people are telling me about, for example, they're unhappy in a relationship, they have these and these issues, let's say, for example. And I was like, think about it now. If you watch any movie or TV show, all these issues you are just describing, you see them in every TV show, you know?
Every TV show, yeah.
Exactly, every TV show. And when you tell people, like, because your subconscious mind sees this behavior, for example, it's cheating, it's fighting with your partner, you know, it's always throwing in their face, like, oh, you didn't do this, and it's always arguing about small things. I was like, you see it in every TV show, in every movie. For example, with kids, what is really disturbing for me is when I see bullying in a TV shows, you know, like, this is heartbreaking for me. And then you explain to people, like, you repeat what you see on regular basis because your subconscious mind doesn't differentiate between reality and between what is happening on a TV screen. It just sees everything as this is life. So this is what everybody else is doing, so I'm gonna do the same. And usually when I describe to people, like, name me one movie or TV show where they don't show alcohol, cigarettes, drama, backstabbing, killing, car crashes, you know, it's just all so negative. As Jason always describes, it's like 20 minutes of disaster and everything is falling apart, everything is going wrong. Then it's 5 minutes of, yeah, everything is great, you know, life is great, and then it goes back to a disaster. So if you start explaining this to people, they're like, I never thought about this like that, you know. And it's just, you need to break that circle with people, because as I said, again, that's what everybody else is doing. And this is just, everybody's just used to, like, okay, at the end of a hard day, all I want to do is just sit down and relax for a while. But okay, you choose to watch TV, for example, as people are like, what are you doing when you don't have TV? I play the piano, I go for a walk in the nature, I play with my dog, you know, I create my business, I read the books, you know, I clean my apartment, I look for new options, how to improve my health. I educate myself on corruption, on vaccines, on everything. I just want to grow. Like, every single minute in my life, I'm trying to use to grow, you know. I meditate, I listen to hypnotherapy, you know. I'm just explaining them what I do, and many people are just sitting there and watching me with the disbelief, like, this is like, where did you come from?
Yeah, it's super unusual for people to hear that, because it's, you know, something people are so accustomed to go home and like put on the Netflix and have a drink and just like, oh, a hard day of work, and they just spend the whole day, right, just watching Netflix and drinking, and go back to bed and wake up and do the same exact thing over and over and over. Like,
Exactly. And like, I've been there too. Like, as I said, like with my, especially with my partner, it was something we used to do together, you know, just let's sit down with our favorite TV shows, and let's just sit down, open the bottle of wine, have a few drinks, and just let's watch something, you know, let's just have a laugh, you know, even though there were other things I needed to do, but you're like, oh, I just had a hard day, I deserve this, you know, I deserve this rest. But you had a hard day because your body is toxic, you're running low on energy because you don't get a proper nutrition. And many people don't realize this. They are just looking for any excuse just to avoid their responsibilities and just look for an easy life.
I completely agree. All right, well, I really appreciate you sharing your story. And if people wanted to get in contact with you so they could maybe get coaching sessions with you, or just even reach out and speak to you, where would be the best place for them to do that?
Actually, there is a new website that I just created recently. It's danapoloni.com. They can find me there. There is a contact me section where they can reach out if they have any questions. On my website, I offer a few services. As I said, I offer self-sabotage services. I offer a fitness educational coaching program as well, where I teach people how to really look into their nutrition, how to count calories, how to track their calories in food, what foods are good for your health, and which foods to avoid. I'm offering translation services as well, because I'm flowing in English and Slovak. And there is a little eco-friendly shop as well. It's just a new thing that I'm starting out. But I would like to mainly focus on self-sabotaging, because everybody self-sabotage at certain level. And I think people need help. And many people, they want to change their life, but they don't know how. They don't know where to reach. So this is really where I like to focus my energy, because I see how much it changed my life over the last 2 years. And I can see that it's infectious, you know, because if people see you, Jesus, you always have so much energy, you're always happy, you never complain, you know, like, how do you do it? Like, I can teach you.
Yeah. That is so awesome. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I'll make sure to get your website link and put it down in the description below, so everyone can click it there directly. And yeah, I mean, it's such a great story, so inspiring. And I hope everyone listening can really hear that, you know, me and her, Donna, might have different stories, different backgrounds, but we're both able to overcome that self-sabotage and both able to move forward in our life. Um, and I think that anyone who is listening and is struggling and who is disliking their life, just know that there is a way forward, and that, you know, I'll be sharing each podcast every Thursday, talking about things we can do. And on Sundays, I'll be interviewing someone as well, just so they can share their story. So maybe you might be inspired and move forward in life. And just know that asking for help is very, very important. Like, if you need that help, you know, don't sit there and do yourself a disservice by just sitting in the dark and, you know, thinking that you are not worthy of help, or that it's embarrassing to get that help, because we all are able to benefit from help, and it can oftentimes like speed up our progress. Like, I'm sure Dana can agree with this. Like, if you were just trying to do this all by yourself, you never got help from anyone else, you'd probably be stuck in that bad relationship, and probably feeling very frustrated with yourself and your life. And maybe you wouldn't be alive today. You know, like, it's so awesome that you had someone to reach out to, and you were able to ask for help, and you were able to get help from other people and look for help, and learn from others. And that's what I want everyone else to be able to do as well.
Oh, I definitely agree with you, Tanner, because many times if you go through certain problems in our lives, we think like nobody else have these problems, you know, like, is this only me? but there is thousands of people who go through the same issues. And even when I was going through my depression, I thought like everybody hates me. I can't talk to anybody. You just put yourself down, but don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to share your story. Talk to people, ask people for their opinion, for their help. Like that's where we are one as a humanity. It's all about energies, and we are here to share energies and help each other. So never be afraid to reach out and share your story. And there is going to be plenty of people who will be willing to help you. I'm sure of that. And thank you so much, Tanner, for your time. It was my pleasure to be here in your show. And I hope it's not the last one.
Yeah, I plan on, I'm sure, having you back again and seeing how you've grown, and very excited to watch you grow and help other people within your self-sabotaging career.
Definitely, like with the speed of progress that I'm going at the moment, I'm sure, as I said, 2 years ago, I was a different person than I am today. And I'm sure in 2 years' time, I'll be, again, different person, wiser, more aware of everything that is going on, with more knowledge, and I'll be able to help even more people with more aspects of their lives.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have a great day, Dana, and thank you everyone for listening. Please make sure to tune in on this next Thursday, and yeah, I hope we all have a great day.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tanner.